Right then, villains, 24 hours on. How are we all feeling after that 1-1 draw away at Sunderland? Have you calmed down? No, me neither. I like to do these videos, these longer format ones, a day or so after the game, give you a chance to cool down, let your head kind of reset, and speak with a little bit more sensibly and not too reactionary as we do sometimes say things. We don't always mean straight after a match, but to be honest, the more I think about that game, the more I think about certain performances, the more it keeps annoying me. Like I say, 1-1 away, a good Sunderland side, got momentum behind them, adapted back to life in the Premier League very strongly so far, with some good standout performances from them yesterday. It's not a bad point, but if you include all the factors with them going down to 10 men, Villa taking the lead and giving away a pathetic equaliser, and then bottling a chance right at the death to take all 3 points, you can't help but be frustrated. And that was Villa's day yesterday. Emery storming off at the end isn't a good look. Just creates more media headlines for the likes of TalkSport, whoever. They're all going to love to latch onto that, and of course they are. It's not a good look. He's an unhappy man, but I'm not a fan of him storming off before the final whistle. I don't think it's not the right look. This is Unai Emery's mess to sort out. We know he's had his hands tied through the summer with the transfer business, and I can understand why he's frustrated with the players. Ultimately, he's on them. But walking off with, let's be honest, best part of a minute left of that game. Anything can happen in a minute in football. We know that. It's not a great look. It just causes more of a stir, gives more reason to suggest why the camp isn't happy, and makes us look like a little bit of a circus, doesn't it? Which, let's be honest, at the moment and the start to this season, it has been. And the game started off, not much to report really, was there, in that first 20 or so minutes. Villa had that chance with Gesson, which he really should have taken for me. It was on the turn, not the easiest of chances, probably not as easy as it looked, but you would still back him or back one of your forwards to score from 8 yards out there. But there wasn't much more to report from the first 25-30 minutes of that game. And then the big incident happens, which is the red card for the Sunderland player, Reynaldo. I can't remember his name. I hadn't heard of him before. I'm not going to pretend otherwise, guys. But it was a clear as day red card. I didn't actually notice it at the time. I don't think the Sky cameras really picked it up that clearly. But yeah, just stupid from him. Two-footed, kicking Cash in the balls. And then he was getting booed after. I mean, I can't believe how surprised he looked that he received a red card. It was the most obvious red card you'll ever see. And Matty Cash was getting booed after that. Sunderland fans, I'm not sure what they thought they'd seen or what they thought had happened, but I'm sure when they get home and had another look at that one, they probably would feel like booing Matty Cash wasn't the wise thing to do. But hey, that's what football fans do, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I've got to say, while we're on the subject, guys, there should have been a second red card for Sunderland. That tackle from Hume, is it Trey Hume, I think his name is, on Morgan Rogers was a wild challenge. I mean, you can say if you get the ball and go and follow through on the man like that, nowadays it's an out of control, reckless red card challenge. But he didn't even get the ball at all. I mean, at the time I was going mad. I was screaming at the TV. I was like, surely that's a red, and no one was really saying anything. And then seconds later, or not long after, the ball ends up in the back of the net. So we've all forgotten about it. But that would have seen Sunderland down to 9. Would we have won with 9 men? I'd like to think so. Some people would probably say not, but I'd have liked to think we'd have beat the 9 men and kept them off. But that was a clear as day red card. It was as much as a red card as the initial one. It was a wild, reckless challenge. I'm sure the Sunderland fans enjoyed it and whatever, but I'm sure if it was on one of their players, they would not have been happy. I think that was a really, really reckless challenge, and he should have seen red for that. But look, Villa can't be relying on teams to go down to 9 men to win a game of football. Like I say, the goal went in not long after. Another fortuitous goal for Villa. That's the second of the week, you could say, after the Elliott goal against Brentford. A goalkeeping howler at first when he hit it from range. I mean, I was calling for throughout the game, just have a strike from distance. It's going to take something like that for us to actually score a goal, because we just didn't look like breaking them down whatsoever. Cash hit it from distance, and when it hit the back of the net, I was like, oh my God, what a goal that is, what a strike, Matty Cash. We've actually got the Polish Cafu, we've seen him do that on international duty, and he absolutely leathered that one into the top corner. But watching it back, it was an absolutely goalkeeping disaster. I mean, what that technique was is he tried to like fist it away. I mean, why would you try and fist away a shot that's coming in on goal? It did swerve away. It was a clean strike from Cash, and fair play to him for hitting it. And I was really pleased for him, because he's a man that gets a lot of stick. I know a lot of you who might be watching this video not a fan of him. All entitled to your opinions. I like Matty Cash. I think he's a decent player. I'm not saying we don't need competition there or need an upgrade. I'm not saying that, but I think he's been a very good professional, good player for Villa over the years, and I think he's been pretty good this season. I don't think he's the problem at Aston Villa at all. We've seen him get scapegoated a lot over the years, but I was happy to see him score yesterday. And we seen that video, didn't we, that was released probably about 6 weeks ago, when the Villa admin was asking the players, who do you think is going to score our first goal of the season? And Cash confidently said he's going to stick it top bins. And well, we weren't hoping it was going to take 5 games, but he was kind of right in the end, with a bit of a helping hand from the Sunderland goalkeeper. It did find its way into the top corner, and from there you think, yes, we've got the goal. Usually it's a struggle against 10 men. We've seen it last year, didn't we, when we played Ipswich? Villa have always seemed to struggle against 10 men for some reason, but usually what you find hard against 10 men is trying to break them down, and Villa did that. Like I say, in fortuitous circumstances, but Villa did get that goal. And once you go 1-up, Sunderland have to open up. You'd fancy your chances of picking them off and going and score another 1 or 2, which we very almost nearly did with Donyell Marlon, who looked through on goal. I was off this sofa. I was almost leapt into the TV that he was going to put that one away, willing him on to put it into the back of the net. You know, you see Donyell Marlon as quite a strong finisher, and I fancied him there just to bang, put it across goal into the back of the net, but he just couldn't get his shot away. It has to be said, credit to the Sunderland defender, whoever got back to nick it off him, but he needed to get a shot off there. It was disappointing from Marlon. His disappointing campaign, as does Aston Villa's, continue, because the goal comes in, it can only be minutes, if that, straight after Sunderland got up the other end and equalised. I mean, we have to talk about that goal, guys. It was absolutely shocking. I mean, I wouldn't expect to see that kind of goal in an under-10s game. Just Villa going to sleep. Second balls seemed to be a problem yesterday, from set pieces as well. And Granit Xhaka has just stood there on the edge of the box with an easy looping header for Isidore to slot home. I mean, there's 4, 5, 6 of them just stood around Xhaka, just watching him. Particularly Ollie Watkins, for me, as a think about going to challenge, and then he just stops himself 2 or 3 yards from Xhaka. Just honestly disgusting. And I know Emery called out laziness in his post-game interview yesterday, and looking back at that goal, you can't question it. I mean, really, really, really poor, really disappointing. I was absolutely furious when that one hit the back of the net, and you have to be honest, Sunderland deserved it. I mean, I spoke a couple of minutes ago about saying how Villa had to be patient to break Sunderland down, and they eventually did it with a bit of a lucky goal. But to be honest, in that second half, Sunderland were the stronger side. They started the second half stronger. They hit the bar. Dan Ballard was causing us all kinds of issues, having a battle with Mings as well. I mean, like I say, that one that hit the bar, that could have hit the back of the net, and there was a few others. Mings got his body in the line on a couple of occasions, but Villa, again, I mean, the set pieces were what you felt the threat was going to come from, and it did. So that's why it was so frustrating to give away a goal in that circumstance in the way we did. I was expecting an onslaught of set pieces towards the end of the game, which was why I was so eager for Villa to get that second goal, and they really should have, through Donyell Marlon. Villa stood up pretty well to a lot of the set pieces. I mean, it was tough. Sunderland very physical. Mings, a couple of blocks. Konsa, I thought he played well in the first half in particular, but that goal, it was sloppy, and some of the playing out from the back, not brilliant either. But yeah, Sunderland get themselves back to 1-1. I mean, the crowd was up. The stadium-like crowd was well behind the team, and understandably so. I mean, they had a lot to cheer about with them, you know, with 10 men playing like that. Fair play to them. I think the happiest man in the stadium, though, when that goal went in, was Chris Sutton on commentary. I mean, he was really willing willing Sunderland on to get something from that game. So he must have had a bad year or so whenever he was at Villa, because he was not very praiseful of us at all. Or not that he needed to be praiseful of us. There wasn't much to be praiseful about, in fairness. I mean, I can't say I was sat here very praiseful of us, but he just seemed very eager for Sunderland to go and get something from that game, which they ultimately did, and they did deserve. But yeah, after that goal, we saw the changes, didn't we? I really like the look of Maatsen and Sancho down that left-hand side, guys. That's something we need to see a lot more of. I did touch on that in the preview to the Sunderland game, if any of you watched that. I did want to see Maatsen and Sancho down that left-hand side. I didn't think we'd see it. We didn't. But I think there's a nice little link up there. And I was really impressed with Jadon Sancho. In particular, that ball he put in for Watkins and Cash. Again, not happy, guys, when that ball drifted over his head. He's got to be getting on the end of that. He's got to be getting on the end of it and sticking that one away. And that would have taken all 3 points for Villa. And that would have been a huge result with Fulham and Burnley coming up. You know, you'd be looking at potentially 9 points. Again, I'm not saying Burnley and Fulham are going to be easy. They're not at all. But now they look even tougher tasks. You would have carried some momentum over with a good victory away from home. And he should have taken that chance on his heels. He looks slow to me, Ollie Watkins. We can't keep making excuses for him. I've said it myself. I've tried to justify it. Oh, it's limited service and it's not good enough. He needs to sort himself out. I mean, Dion Dublin touched on it yesterday on Match of the Day. I saw a clip of what he had to say. It seemed like he was a bit apologetic for him, saying about how he was dropped against PSG and he should have been starting those games. He got us there. Football doesn't wait around for anyone. You're getting paid a lot of money. You're still playing a lot of football. You missed a lot of big chances last season. Need to get his act together and get this chip off his shoulder. I don't know what it is. Whether it is that, it might be something else. I don't know. But he just seems to have this chip on his shoulder that Emery dropped him last season for Duran or Rashford. And he's not a happy boy, but needs to get his head together, because him and Morgan Rogers, for me, are big problems for Aston Villa. I mean, they're the two men that you back in to score the lion's share of your goals, and they look awful. I mean, Morgan Rogers, it's another story in himself, isn't he? I mean, we keep backing him to get back to form. We know how brilliant he was last season, but this year, I mean, I think we've seen a stat of he's averaging giving the ball away around 17 times a game, which is just unbelievable in the Premier League. It's so poor. He looks terrible. He looks absolutely terrible. Of course, I'm going to back every Villa player the same with Watkins. I'm going to back them every time they pull on a Villa shirt, but it needs to be better. We can keep making excuses in terms of he's not getting space to run into. There's no fluidity. He's still receiving a lot of the ball. Got to do better with it. Got to be quicker. Got to stop giving it away. It's not good enough. And Emery did hook him in the end. I think he needs sitting out again, personally. It's just not working. Villa do have options in those four positions with Harvey Elliott, who was called out by Unai Emery post-game, wasn't he? He said that he was trying to pass it too quickly, which for me is, I'm not sure he's the right man to be calling out. I'm not saying I want any players to be called out by the manager, but Villa need to play quicker. I mean, at least he was trying to bring a bit of urgency. I'm not saying he was great when he come on. He should have scored as well. He had a great chance on his left foot that just drifted past the post. That should have been a goal, but I don't really like that we're calling players out for trying to move the ball too quickly, because Villa are far too tepid most of the time and the ball moves far too slowly, just playing in front of the opposition, making it very comfortable for them. So I'm just not sure that was the right thing for Unai to come out and say, but listen, he knows a lot more than I do about football. So we'll keep backing him. We will keep backing him, but very frustrating, but shoots of positivity with Sancho, I think. Maatsen, I think that needs to be the link up. I love Luca Dean, but I do think this is the season we need to see Ian Maatsen playing a lot of football. Villa have just lost their identity, haven't they, a little bit? They've lost their way, which Unai did touch on in that post-game interview. They need to get their confidence back. I mean, the starting 11 was a bit of a surprise, wasn't it, with Gesson starting? I mean, Gesson, the best thing he's at the minute is slide tackling. I don't know whether it's because his second touch is always a tackle, but defensively, okay, going forward, a bit slow. We did see him have one drive forward, which was a nice little run into the box, put a ball across. I think it was a little bit behind Elliott, whoever it was. But we need to see a lot more from him. Again, he's going to be a slow burner. We've got to give him time. Should have had a goal as well to his name, but I was surprised to see him in the lineup after his performance against Brentford in the week. Wasn't particularly impressive at all, was it? Buendia again. I thought Elliott would be starting ahead of Buendia. He didn't have a good day at the office. Trying too hard, I think, sometimes, Emi Buendia. I always will him on. I really want him to do well. You can see how much it means to him, how much he wants to do well at Villa, but I think he's trying too hard at times, and he's trying things that he's just not capable of pulling off. And yeah, I mean, look, Villa have tried to offload Buendia on 2 or 3 occasions, and he's in the starting 11. Shows something is wrong at the club, doesn't it? Again, I'm not going to point the finger at him. I think there's other players that need to stand up taller, but it wasn't working, and I don't see him starting. We don't know what's going to happen Thursday, how Villa will line up for that one, but particularly next Sunday as we take on Fulham, I'm not sure Buendia will keep his shirt for that game. But like I say, I do think a big problem for Villa at the moment is Rodgers and Ollie Watkins, but there's no other option than Ollie Watkins. There isn't. Villa have to persist with him. Daniel Marlon, for me, isn't a striker. He's struggling playing off the right as it is. He's not a striker. Evan Gesson came in and we spoke. We was under the impression that Evan Gesson could play as a striker. Maybe he can, but I don't see it. I don't see him having the attributes to play up front. So it's Ollie Watkins or nothing. So we're going to have to stick with him. We're going to have to get behind him. We're going to have to hope he sorts his head out. Whatever it is, it might not be his mentality, but he just needs to sort it out. Obviously, the same is said with Rodgers, isn't it? Has he checked out of Aston Villa? I don't think so. I mean, he hasn't moved. I wouldn't say there was particularly ever really heavy links with Morgan Rodgers to leave over the summer. There was a few whispers. I'm sure there was interest, but it wasn't like there was any bids received or anything concrete. So I don't think he's checked out. You know, I'm sure he's got his eyes on a move in the future. Of course he has. I'm sure he'll have his eyes on the likes of Liverpool and Arsenal, whatever. But he needs to book his ideas up, because if he keeps playing like this, he ain't going to be going anywhere. The only way would be down. So he needs to really, really sort himself out. But again, I'm not sure it's mentality. I just think he's been sussed out a little bit. I think teams know what he wants to do. He wants to run into space. He uses physicality on the turn, get a shot off. It's quite predictable, and teams have sussed it out. It was pretty fresh, wasn't it, last season, particularly at the start of last season when we saw him like rip Arsenal apart and other sides, Man City for one. I think it was a bit fresh, it was new, whereas now teams know what to expect. They know to double up on him, close him down, give him no room. Villa need to rethink what they're doing. But yeah, other positives that I've made note, we've climbed a place, yay. I mean, no one's getting too excited about that. Villa up to 18th, just us and Wolves to have not won a game this season. I think Wolves are. I'm surprised there's West Ham are behind us as well. They have won a game, but with our 3 draws, they've lost every other game, and Wolves have obviously lost every game. So again, I'm not reading too much into the table at the minute. We can't get too caught up in that. It is very early days, and we've just got to hope things get better. But yesterday didn't fill us with optimism at all, did it? Just not a good time. It's not a good time. Again, I'm looking forward to Thursday night. I am really looking forward to Thursday night. A bit of an escape from the Premier League, getting Europa, which I feel like all our eggs are in the Europa League basket this season, aren't they? We're going to have to look at, we'll always take optimism from what happened last season in the Europa League with Man United and Tottenham, who were absolutely abject last season, weren't they? And they made their way to the final, and Tottenham getting that backdoor entrance to the Champions League, and that's solved a lot of their problems. They're looking a much stronger outfit this season. Again, a lot of their fans, deludedly so, wanted to keep Postecoglou at the time. I was really hoping they would keep Postecoglou, because I don't rate him as a manager at all. Tottenham were terrible last season. I was hoping they'd keep hold of him to stunt their progress, but they went and got Thomas Frank, and looks like they're kicking on. So Villa have got I mean, got to take some sort of enthusiasm from that the Europa League is a very realistic opportunity of not just being able to pick up silverware. Of course, that's the main thing for us Villa fans that we want to see, but it's also the golden ticket to the Champions League, which would help solve some of Villa's financial restrictions, wouldn't it? So, looking forward to Thursday. I mean, Bologna, we've seen Bologna at Villa Park last season in the Champions League. They were pretty poor, were pretty average. Villa beat them comfortably 2-0, I think it was on the night, with Duran and McGinn getting on the score sheet. But it's not going to feel as simple a task as it going into that one with how the season started. But just got to hope Villa see the Europa League as, I don't know, a bit of a fresh kind of thing to go for, and there's a bit more fluidity, a bit more confidence in front of the Villa Park fans. Hopefully the Villa Park fans get behind the team, don't get on their back too easy, because I know we're all frustrated at the minute. Villa Park over the years has got on the players' back quite quickly and has made it a difficult place to play. Particularly thinking back to my younger years watching the Lambert sides, times like that definitely got on the back quite quickly and made it a difficult place for the home team. But in recent years, we've seen the opposite effect, and the fans, when they get behind the team, Villa can be unstoppable at home, and we really need to see that kind of form again. The home form from last season was fantastic, other than a few disappointing draws. But we've got to do our part and get behind the team now, back them, give them confidence, and get them firing again. And Thursday is a good opportunity for that. And then it's a big couple of weeks for Villa now. Is it season defining? I don't think you can ever say season defining, but I do think this is a big spell for Villa now. This next 2 weeks with Bologna, Fulham at home Sunday, and then we've got Burnley at home as well. I mean, that has to be maximum points in the Premier League. I think we need to win all three, including the Bologna Europa League game. We need to start our campaign off well positively there. But Fulham and Burnley in particular in the league, we have to win those two games. Fulham are no mugs at all. We know Villa have a good record against Fulham, a very good record against Fulham. But you don't feel confident beating any Premier League side at the minute. I mean, according to Opta, we've had the kindest start to the Premier League campaign in terms of fixture list. It doesn't always play out like that. You have to, fixture by fixture can be different, can't it? And looking at Sunderland and Everton, who had started the season well, they're not easy fixtures. Points in them, they're not really the problem. But yesterday, in the manner of the game, Villa should have taken 3 points. But they need to go and get maximum from these next couple of games, because it's Tottenham after the international break away, and of course Man City at home, I think, after that. So a couple of tough games after the international break. Villa might save their best for the best they have in recent years. Let's hope that continues as well, because we've got a lot of ground to make up already. So yeah, fingers crossed. But Villa need to click back into gear. It just seems after we smashed Newcastle that week where we beat PSG, we smashed Newcastle. A few days later, we played Man City, didn't we, and turned up like a lower league opposition that just didn't want to get smashed. And it was ultimately, you could say that was the game that cost us Champions League, that 2-1 where we give it away right at the end. Just tepid displays from there. And then obviously the Crystal Palace game in the FA Cup semi-final was shocking, tepid football. And then we got a couple of wins, didn't we? 2 or 3 wins, edging teams out. Bournemouth 1-0, Tottenham 2-0. I think there was another one, Fulham 1-0 in there. You know, great, we were winning the games, but it was edging the games out. It was nothing thrilling. Villa's spark seemed to have gone. It looked like we needed the end of the season. Then, of course, that horrific day at Old Trafford where we missed out on Champions League football, which feels like potentially a big sliding doors moment. And that's continued into this season, hasn't it? So hopefully it all turns around soon. We have to keep the optimism. We have to just get behind Unai Emery. He's not going to be going anywhere. There's a lot of talk about Unai Emery. Some people calling for his head. I'm still not sure any genuine Villa fan is saying that. I think it is Blue Noses desperate to cause a little bit of a stir. But I don't see any genuine Villa fan wanting Emery out. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. If you are a fan that thinks that, you're completely entitled to your opinion. I completely understand the frustration. I'm frustrated. I think there's things Unai Emery can do better. Ultimately, the players need to do the business on the pitch. I feel like a lot of them are just, I don't know what it is. I've got their head in the sand a little bit. I don't know. need to sort themselves out, and I'm sure Unai Emery is as frustrated as us fans at the minute. But he's not going to be going anywhere. Villa have put all their eggs in the Emery basket, and they're going to be backing him. And we'll have to be in the bottom three after about 15, 20 games for them to be considering his position. So just get behind him, get behind the team, bring on Thursday night. Let's get that good feel back at Villa Park, and let's go and get some victories, because and get this campaign up and running properly. I think I've said that every podcast, well, not podcast, I don't know what to call it that, but every video I've done, I feel like I've said that about us kickstarting our campaign. But at least we got a goal yesterday, so hopefully that opens the floodgates and better times to come. As always, guys, thank you for watching. Drop in the comments your thoughts. You're going Thursday night. Let me know if you're going to be at Villa Park. Looking forward to the Europa League tie against Bologna. What do you want to see different? Would you like to see Villa try anything different? Would you like to see Unai implement any changes to the lineup? Do you think Rodgers should be on the bench? Do you think Watkins should be on the bench? What should Aston Villa change to get their season finally up and running? Let me know in the comments, guys. And as always, we'll end it with a big up the Villa.